Gonna wait a little bit here, wait for people to start coming in. The gay reset, nothing new under the sun is the topics for the day. So we got one person in. We'll wait a little bit longer, see if any more people want to join, and then we'll get on the topic. So the Hunter, what's going on, man? What's going on? Waiting a little bit, seeing if some other people are gonna stop in, and then here in a few seconds, maybe a minute or so, I'll start talking. But the topic for the day, as you see in the post, is the gay reset, not the great reset, and nothing new under the sun. So, all right. So to start off, how you doing, brother? I'm doing well, man. I'm doing really well. I hope you're doing well too. So, I want to start off by promoting my Patreon. So I've started a Patreon. It's on my Facebook page. You can check that out. Please support. So the plan is to do these live streams, try to do them every day, analyzing these topics, trying to bring humor to them, because they are dark topics, and people get really depressed when they start waking up to, these satanic cults that run our world. So going to try to, do this every day as I can. But as you guys know, I do have 2 4-month-old daughters, so it can be tough. So there may be some days where I can't get to it, right? But for the Patreon, if you guys become members, I will give you guys access to short stories in audio form, as well as poems that I write, and occasionally songs. There are different tiers. You can go check that out. But I plan on doing one free, everybody gets access to the short story, one a month, and then the other one will be members only. And then for the poems, I'll try to do them every week. So one will be free, and then the others will be for members only. And then that one that is free for both the poems and the short stories will be members will get early access. All right. So the reason I'm doing that, if you guys saw the post, is I was recently fired from my job yesterday actually, because I did not want to wear a mask. It's pretty much what it was. I wasn't argumentative. I just basically told them that it's my religious belief. In the state of Ohio, I have religious exemptions as well as philosophical exemptions from sort of medical examinations. And also, I have a medical condition. It is I need to breathe in order to live. So, yeah, they did not want to honor that, and so I was fired. And so that Patreon account is going to essentially go towards helping me and my family, although we are not in any sort of, dire situation. Currently, my wife still works, and we're, financially we're okay, but it is something that we're going to have to adapt to. But anyway, jumping into the topic, the gay reset and nothing new under the sun. So I want to start off with going all the way back to the foundation of America. I'm talking like the late 1700s, right? 1776. So, Alexander Hamilton, the captain of debt, back in the day, was, he was a soldier. And while he was in the war fighting, in the Revolution, the American Revolution, he was constantly reading, self-educated man, and studied a lot on finance. And he decided, after seeing what was going on with the American, the revolution, the war that was taking place, the independence that America was trying to gain, he was analyzing this from both a governmental standpoint and a financial standpoint. And one thing that he noticed is that our government needs to be restructured. The Article of Confederations was trash. That's what he thought. I think it's much better probably than what we currently have. But anyway, so he said, we need to do away with the government that we have, and we also need to get debt. We need to get debt. Rainbow, yeah. And so his plan was to reconstruct the way we do our government and the way we have our economy structured. And how he wanted to do that, first off, was to have the country as a whole. This was after the Revolution in the Articles of Confederation. He wanted the country, the federal government, to assume all the debt from the state governments. That way they can build up credit and a good rapport with other foreign governments, so that way they can we could do business with other foreign governments and start trading. And he thought debt would be a good way to start building up the credit, as many people do today. He was the founder of that. Not the founder, obviously. You have the Dutch who did it before. And what's up, Trinity? I hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are doing well over there. So he kind of ushered that idea into America, the debt-based economy. And so he thought, if we got all the debt, we would be able to build up our credit, as I've already stated. And so what he ended up pushing through, because, he was the little devil on George Washington's ear, because I think he was his Secretary of Treasury, he said, hey man, we need debt. Because this is a quote from Alexander Hamilton. Debt, if not in excess, is a national blessing. What's up, Ronnie? Hope you're doing well, man. So he thought debt was a national blessing. And also another quote from Alexander Hamilton is, doing what it takes to make your trek across the deserts. No worry, man, if you lose something for standing up. That's what I'm saying, man. That's what I'm saying. I know I'm doing the right thing. I know God's on my back. I know God. I'm just following the truth, man. That's what I have to do. I can't, you can't bow down to lies. Like when you look back at Christian history and the persecution that early Christians faced. I mean, Christians were being slaughtered because they wouldn't bow down to a god, to a pretend god, to a fake god. They were getting killed for that. So all they had to do was take a knee. It's almost the same thing right now, just a little bit different, because nobody's getting killed. But if I weren't in the position I'm in currently, and I lost my job because of this, it could be detrimental, right? So and it's just a simple. They even told me, my job told me, if you give up your beliefs, you can keep your job, is essentially what they told me. If you give up your beliefs, you can keep your job. Disgusting. So don't bow down to the, God always has a plan. He has a better plan, man. Always. So, getting back on topic here. So, Alexander Hamilton, was that little devil on George Washington's ear saying, no, we need the debt. Thomas Jefferson was like, no, man. No debt. We don't need it. Totally against it. And I'm also against this national bank thing that your boy Hamilton wants to implement. That just sounds crazy. It's going to allow for too much overreach in the government. It's just not a good idea, But Alexander Hamilton ended up writing this letter, convincing George Washington, in between powdering his wig and whatever, George Washington decided to go with Alexander Hamilton's idea and create this national debt, we'll pass it through Congress and all that, and accumulate all the debt. National bank, I think I said national debt, but wanted to, he passed this bill up into Congress, or had Congress pass this bill for a national bank, and to turn our economy into a debt-based economy. I bring this up. This is the first place I want to start, because that is a reset. That is a reset of how we used to do things way back in the beginning of America. And just a few years after America's inception, from 1774 to 1789, there was a drastic change in the way we were doing things. And it was largely because that's illegal if your job is being like that. That's what I said, man. That's what I told him. I said it is my First Amendment right. It is my First Amendment right which supersedes any mandate and any law. The money to pay for interest on what U.S. borrows. Let's see. What's that say? Therefore, does not exist. U.S. borrows from the federal. I can't read the rest of your message, man, for whatever reason. It won't let me. It says see more, and I'm clicking it, but it won't let me see it. But to get back to what, yes, it is against my First Amendment rights, and that's the first thing I told them. And I said, hey, this is my First Amendment right, my right to practice my religion and go with my consciousness. And you guys have to. That supersedes any law. Supersedes any law. It's above natural. It's above state-given laws. It's a natural law. But yeah, they don't want to honor it. Title, and that too, man, they discriminated against me. Actually, I told my vice president, I was like, if I was gay, I wouldn't be going through this for that exact reason, discrimination, because they were discriminating against me. But I'm not a victim. I'm not going to act like a little bitch and say, boo-hoo, poor me, I lost my job. No, screw that. And, there are legal repercussions I could take, legal actions I could take as well. But the way I see it is there are a lot of people that work for the company, and I don't want to disturb anybody's livelihood. I'll just put it that way. I'm just kind of taking what Jesus taught in the Bible. They slap you on the cheek, you turn your other cheek to them, give them the other cheek to slap. I'll be fine, man. Just support me on Patreon, guys. Just support us on Patreon. It's, helping my family out, helping us get land, and, doing our own thing. It's all right, man. There's always a path. And yes, what they did is illegal as hell. It is illegal as hell. But it is what it is, man. So the first thing I was talking about was Alexander Hamilton, the captain of Debt Boy. I came in late, lost your job, bro. Yeah, man. Yeah, I did lose my job. They fired me because I did not comply with the new policy that they implemented literally. It was a policy they just implemented that day. That day, no warning for anybody. And we got this group text. And they, my manager then messaged me, asking if we could talk. Because we had a conversation before this last week because the motherfuckers wanted to check my temperature. And I was like, no, I'm not, no, that's not happening. First off, once again, it goes against my First Amendment right. Secondly, it goes against my right to have privacy of my medical data. And thirdly, it's a medical examination. So there has to be a medical professional to do it. And so we made a compromise. They said that I can take my temperature at home. So I was like, okay, I'll take my temperature at home. But then guess what? I go to work the next day, and then they start recording they try to make me take my temperature there. And I'm like, this isn't the agreement I had. And so the paper I even signed too, I had to sign a piece of paper. I'll backtrack a little bit. I had to sign a piece of paper saying that I attest that I took my temperature at home and I have no symptoms of the fake COVID-19, whatever. And so I was signing it, I signed it the first day. That's what the paper said. I attested at home. I did all this at home. Then they, came back and saying that I had to do it at work. I had to have my temperature checked at work. So they fucking lied to me. They lied to me. And then I come back the next day. I bring my own thermometer. And I start taking my own temperature. Because I don't even want to take my temperature. I feel it's degrading that I have to take my temperature. I had to take my temperature. But I feel that it would be dishonest if I didn't. Although there were times where I did sign the paper and I didn't follow, and I do feel guilty about that, but I'm just being honest. But anyway, so the second day I come in, I sign the damn paperwork again, and it still says that I did it at home. And then guess what? I call them out on it, and the next day they fucking change it. So they lied to me, and then they fired me because I ended up just saying that, I am not going to wear the mask. And I even told them, hey, I will get a medical exemption from my doctor because the doctor page and I go to and our daughters go to is totally against the mask. It's totally against vaccinations. She's fucking woke, dude. And she's against all of this stuff. I would take it anal and well, yeah, man, it does require balls. And that's the whole point. It's like you have to be a fucking man. You have to be a fucking man. And people are afraid. We don't have men these days. We don't have men to lead. And it's sad. It's sad. And if I have to, and you know what? I get it. There's going to be some people who are going to comply with the mask just to keep their jobs. That's fine. I get that. Keep doing your thing, man, if that's you. But there has to be, unfortunately, there's a hierarchy to this shit, man. There has to be the people who are willing to sacrifice shit. Fortunately, unfortunately, however you want to look at it, that's just how I'm built. That's just who I am. They wouldn't let you work from home either. They could have and had everyone. Yeah, exactly. And I'm not going to be here to bitch about this all night because I think this is some gravy I'm going to share with you guys. But yeah, I even asked them. I was like, if I'm going to be endangering anybody, let me work from home, because they let us work from home for like, I think 2 months, 3 months, something like that in the beginning of all this. And I guarantee you Ohio's going into a lockdown within the next month. So it's going to be like a slap in the face to me almost, to be like, no, you can't work from home. You have to wear the mask. But they're going to be working from home next month. I guarantee it. I'm willing to bet money on it that Ohio shuts down within a month. That Ohio, because we already have this bullshit lockdown in place. The governor's like, you can't travel outside past 10 or 5 o'clock. Total horseshit. Now I'm planning to do my evening runs at 10 o'clock intentionally, because we've been having a lot of cops drive through lately, so I'm just going to test this shit. It is what it is, guys. First off, it's not the law. It's not the law. I don't know how often we have to repeat that, but it's not the law. It's just a mandate, so you don't have to follow it. I'm telling you, you guys can probably get some good lawyers, some good, constitutional lawyers to help you out here, I'm sure, if you guys get in any kind of legal trouble. But anyway, yeah, so my job is being a bunch of bitches. But anyway, it's no longer my job. So we've already had a reset before, guys, and it was back when we got a new constitution. So we had the Articles of Confederation before, from 1776 to about 1789, roughly. And then, so basically the Articles of Confederation, for those of you who don't know, basically the states were treated as their own nations, and we would come together collectively if a war was to break out or if anything major were to happen, or the post office, Congress, the federal Congress was in charge of the post office. But Debt Boy Alexander Hamilton said we need a new constitution and we need to acquire a bunch of debt, and the federal government needs to assume the debt. So as you can see, at the beginning of our Constitution, we were seeing a shift from state power to federal power. And then, because of Alexander Hamilton, we then see this debt-based economy created, as well as this dichotomy between the state, or the federal and the state powers. So there was a reset right there in the way people live life. Reset right there. And this happens all the time throughout history, man. So I wanted to start here and then go through different events in American history, because, we get in this mindset, especially the truther community is like, we're so awake to this great reset. We're like, they're going to chip you. There's going to be digital there's going to be digital currency. You're not going to be able to do shit unless you're vaccinated, etc., right? We get so caught up on this and this new way of life that's coming, this reset that's taking place, the Great Reset, which we should start, calling it the gay reset, because it is gay. Because you have to be willing to sell your soul in order to be a part of this thing. But it's all fractal, and it's happening at all times. So, I don't want people to think that it's the end of the world because of this. There's always a way out too. I'm going to talk about positive shit too, but I just want to lay this out here that nothing's new under the sun. This is biblical. This is always happening. So we have this at the beginning, the inception of our country, a large reset taking place, right? From Captain Debt Alexander Hamilton, and then the next major reset. Now there were resets in between then and the next reset that I'm going to talk about, and that's from Cocksucking Abe. Cocksucking Abe, or Vampire Abe, or whatever you want to call him. He's the one who started the Civil War, and the reason he started the Civil War has nothing to do why you were taught in school. It has nothing to do because he cared about slaves. As a matter of fact, there's so much written. There's so many letters that he has wrote that you can read online. So many books you can read where it calls that out, where it says that he was actually for slavery. He didn't want to free the slaves, and pretty much why he sort of instigated and started the Civil War was to consolidate power. So he was continuing off of Hamilton. He's called an Hamiltonian. There's a really good book called The Real Lincoln. I can't remember the author of the book, but it's a freaking awesome book, man. And it goes into this in great detail. But Cocksucking Abe, I call him that because he was also gay. I mean, nobody likes to talk about that. They will mention that he slept with his best friend in a bed for like a year or something. But they just said that they slept in the same bed together. Yeah, so the dude was definitely a, cocksucking Abe, man. So, and he's also a vampire. You know that Vampire Lincoln movie that came out? Dude's also he's not a slayer. He is a vampire. He killed men for power. He sacrificed children, sons, fathers, to consolidate power for the government. That's what he did. And he created this great reset. So he took away even more state power than before. Right? So we have this other reset taking place by cocksucking Abe, right? And then the reset everybody loves to talk about is crippled Roosevelt, or the wheelchaired maniac. That sadistic bastard, man. He reset the government as well. He said, guess what? I'm going to give you guys a mark of the beast. That's another thing. Guys, don't think that this freaking vaccine shit is the mark of the beast, or the chip is the mark of the beast. That shit is fractal. There's nothing new under the sun. This is just it's happening all the time. You're living the Bible right now. We are living the Bible right now. The Bible is a living, breathing thing, and you are a living, breathing gospel. So understand that. So, we have crippled Roosevelt, the wheelchaired maniac, coming out with the Social Security card so he can track citizens so that way they can receive benefits from the government. And I'm so sorry, guys. I have to backtrack a little bit. I have to talk because I forgot about this. I'm getting a little riled up here talking about my job and all this other shit. I can't see that emoji because I haven't updated my phone because I'm not gay. So yeah, my iPhone's just going to eventually die out on me because I don't update it and I still have a 7 and whatever. Alexander Hamilton, the way he wanted to pay off debt was by taxes. He said that, well, first off, you can get derivatives from the investment on the national bank that the federal government would be putting money into through a loan, by the way, And they said that, and he said, hey, guess what? You'll be making so much on the dividends that you'll be able to pay off the interest rates. And on top of that, guess what you can do to help pay off the debt? Tax those little people. Tax the little people. So isn't it crazy that the same dude who was fighting against Great Britain because of tax purposes and overreaching government was then like, we need to copy their shit, man, because I want to be a king. Anyway, yeah, so bringing that up because I forgot to mention in the beginning, so the way they were going to pay off the debt is through taxes. That was Debt Boy's plan. And so crippled Roosevelt said, guess what, guys? We can help out people by everybody pitching in more of their taxes. So we'll increase the debt, but since we're taxing, it'll be okay. Because, Hamilton set up this playbook for us. He laid the foundation, man. He laid the foundation, and all we have to do is tax. He said as long as there's taxation, Hamilton said this, then the public credit is immortal. So they deified credit. They deified debt. Debt has become a god. And so, you have Roosevelt creating the Social Security card, the Social Security, I think Medicare, Medicaid, one of the two, or maybe both, and some other housing institution. I don't think that's right, actually. I think he did something with the Tennessee Valley as well. But leading up to Roosevelt, you had this deification of bankers. So people were worshiping bankers in the stock market in the Great Depression before it, right? So you have these resets taking place all over the place. I know I kind of jumped around over there, but yeah, so those are three major resets that we've had in recent history. I mean, it's not like it's ancient history. This is all very recent. You can even go all the way back to like 1665 when I think London came up with the birth certificate. I think London was set on fire or some shit, and they ended up saying that, in order to detract the citizens or something like that. I could be wrong on this, but that's when the birth certificate was made. And so that was another major reset that we saw. So these resets, man, they're just always reoccurring. So this is just another gay reset, and we know it's not something of God, right? We know that because it's just constantly changing. The playbook has to be changing continuously. That's why I made a video saying that liberalism is satanic. Because I was basing that off of a verse in the Bible where the Pharisee said, I think I mentioned this in my last stream, where the Pharisee said, if it is from God, it'll stand. If it is not from God, it'll fall. And so basically every time we see this restructuring taking place and this revival, this resurrection of some sort of economy, or this, rebuilding of an economy by these sick bastards at the top, it's the devil working, man. It's the devil working. And we shouldn't be afraid of them either. We should start making fun of them, because I think we're too afraid of them. We're too afraid of these people behind closed doors. But, we're talking about Abraham Lincoln, a 6'7" faggot, and we're talking about a crippled man who came up with this sick plan. And now we're talking about this Trump. He paints his face orange, guys. He paints his face orange. He's literally a clown. Seriously. And then you're talking about Joe Biden. Dude can't even put two sentences together. And Lord knows what he's done behind closed doors. He probably he probably has a really special relationship with China. And Kamala Harris has sucked her way to the top. So, we shouldn't fear these people. These resets happen all the time. They happen all the time. And I don't really think there's anything to be concerned about. I think the way out of these resets is to stay on that path. Stay with the natural law and follow God's word, man. Follow that. Because that's never changing. That's never changing. It's always constant. It's just constant. They say, Einstein, the cousin fucker, said, change is the only constant. No. Truth is the only constant. Truth never changes. It is absolute. It always stays the same. The only thing that changes is Satan's plans, pretty much. So, and then some other things that I kind of want to talk about a little bit are what happened before the Great Depression. So we got the reset out of the way. So it's just another gay reset, guys. Avoid it simply just by growing your own food, preparing for another lockdown. Start stocking up on supplies, making sure you and your family are okay, getting out of the dollar, get some silver. Yeah, get some silver. I would say get some Bitcoin too. People are going to, whatever. Bitcoin's going to shoot up ridiculously, as is silver. So you're still buying it way cheaper than it's going to be within a year or so. So, start growing your own food. Start trading your dollars for something that's actually worth something, like silver or Bitcoin. I would say gold, but, we're all like working middle class here. Probably none of us can afford gold. That shit's expensive. So silver and Bitcoin, because you can buy fractions of Bitcoin, and you can buy an ounce of silver for like $20 or something right now. So there's always a way out, man. So this gay reset, don't worry about it. Just follow God. Follow that path, and I promise you, it's going to work out just fine. Now, I want to also talk about what happened leading up to I love gold. I think you meant to say I love gold. Yeah, man. Yeah, it's because we're Puerto Rican royalty. Got to move this over. All right. Not really. Actually, I think so. Actually, we are. Well, you're Torres. Damn. I was going to say, us Acevedos actually do have some royal blood. I think the name actually descends from a Spanish king. But you're a Torres, so I don't know. I don't know about you guys. I don't know. So, but let's switch gears a little bit. I want to talk a little bit about the crash of 1929. So this goes into the whole reset thing too. I'm sort of jumping all over the place. I do apologize. I should be more coherent. I hope I'm making sense. But yeah, so the crash of 1929 was what led to the "Oh Danny Boy, we broke." I don't know where that's from, but okay. So the crash of yeah, we are broke. I think you're talking about the country. I'm a little retarded. You know that Alex Jones meme where it's like, I'm gonna be honest, guys, I'm kind of retarded. I feel that way sometimes throughout the day, like right there. So the crash of 1929 is the precursor for the last reset. So there's always going to be this economic collapse that happens. So you have the revolution that was taking place. You have states fighting with each other that kind of led, or debt being incurred, leading to this constitutional revolution. And then you have, the Great Depression. So leading up to all these major events is an economic collapse. And in 1929, 8 years leading up to 1929, the economy was soaring. And this was the first time in history, guys, where commoners could own shares. Does that sound... That's a parallel to what's going on today, right? How many people do you know are in the stock market that are talking about the stock market constantly? And, I'm not saying that there aren't people who are very astute, who are aware of what's going on in the stock market and are making money. You can make money. I just don't like the stock market. To me, it's just all built off of fraud. So I'd rather stick to stuff that is, proven to be true. Bitcoin, I say, is still speculative. And I wouldn't put Bitcoin on a pedestal either. I feel like too many people are putting Bitcoin on a pedestal, saying it's this decentralized money, it's anonymous. But, guys, it's wrong. You need the internet. You need the internet to have Bitcoin. And guess who runs the internet? Not you, not me, but the same people that are pulling the strings to do these resets. So, yeah, so Bitcoin is somewhat of a safe haven, but I think the safest haven you can have is food, water, growing your own food, a garden, homestead, and then silver, and then, gold, or not gold, I'm sorry, bullets, silver, all that shit, right? Cash App. I've actually thought, that's another thing. I will post my Cash App on Facebook. So if you guys want to donate, or support rather, I think that's a better word. You're donating to my family's livelihood and for us to buy some land. Or you can just support the shit I talk and the stories I write and the poems I write as well. But yeah, so this crash that happened in 1929, a bunch of people were getting into it, like grocerers, bank tellers, just your average everyday person was getting into it. And let's see, I have some notes here. And so, let's see. And this was also the dawn of the consumer revolution. So people were getting into the stock market just like they are now with Acorn and Robinhood and all these apps. And there's this consumer revolution taking place. The saying in the 1920s, one of them was, what will they make next? What will they think of next? And also, we are entering an age of permanent prosperity. Those were two sayings that are parallel our current reality, our current time. Time isn't linear, by the way, guys. Time is not linear. So these things are there's just the now. There's just the now. So you see, what will they make next? What will they think of next? And we're entering an age of permanent prosperity. You see the parallel with the latter with artificial intelligence and getting this Neuralink and this artificial general intelligence hooking up to this hive mind. You're going to live forever. Bang. And then what will they think of next? We have that right now. Everybody's like, what's the new thing? That's why social media has to constantly have a refresher. It has to. It has to show you something new every 3 seconds because we want it. So in 1929, the masses had the same morality as we do now. Not the same. Our morality is actually a lot worse. But the masses back then were on somewhat equal footing to the morality we have now, thinking, what's going to come out next? Stock markets are the shit, and this is never going to end. Herbert Hoover actually said during his inaugural speech that we're going to have infinite prosperity. Infinite prosperity. Just like, we have Donald Trump always promoting the stock market as if the stock market is any sort of indication of the country's well-being. It's not. It's retarded. We're putting our value in the dollar, and it's so funny. We have "in God we trust" on our currency. It's like, not the God I believe in. You're not talking about the God I believe in. But yeah, so these are, and that's why I'm saying, get some gold, get some silver if you can afford gold, but probably just get silver and get chunks of Bitcoin if you can. And prepare, because I think we're going to have this reset is going to come with an economic collapse, and a lot of people are going to not be prepared. I do think that there will be a lot of deaths due to it, but it can be avoided. It really can be, just as long as you prepare and you're thinking forward, and that's why this whole Prometheus idea is coming out too, because Prometheus means the forethought, the father of forethought or something. So, Prometheus is sort of rising again, which is just just another version of Lucifer. So, yeah, but people are looking for some sort of higher power to look up to right now, and the government's trying to fill that role. And this Great Reset is going to solidify the deification of the government. So, yeah, man, it's interesting times we live in, but it's nothing new. It's nothing we should fear. And I get it. It's stressful. It's definitely stressful, man. I think about my daughters. I think about my wife. I think about how we're going to operate in the near future. I've already lost my job because of this bullshit. Because of something illegal. They have no legal right to do what they did. And how much further are they going to go? And it's up to us men to draw the line. It's up to us men to draw the line. It's our job. It's not, women shouldn't be doing that. Like when you see that video that came out a while ago of that woman getting dragged out and tased for not wearing a mask at a football game. Women shouldn't have to be doing that. It should be men. And there was a guy recording that camera. There was a guy recording that camera, recording the event. It's disgusting. He did nothing to stand up to it. Nothing. And it's not like you have to get violent either. Like, that's stupid. Violence is always the last resort. I mean, the only time you should engage in violence is if your life is depending on it. Like, you're going to die unless you do something, or somebody in your family is going to die unless you do something. Other than that, there's no need to get violent. Simply, if we just all decide, seriously, if we got like 30 people, even 10 people, to go into the stores without mask on, they wouldn't be able to say shit to us. They wouldn't. Just 10 people, 5 people even. 5 people is all you need to just do this, because it sets a precedent. It's like, no, we're not standing up for it. Like Hunter he shared something in Denmark, from Denmark. They stood up to this forced vaccination. They were like, no, we're not having it. So all we have to do is just stand up to it. There are going to be a few people who are gonna have to sacrifice. I'm not the first one who's fucking had to do this, or been a martyr, or if you want to call it a martyr. I don't know, a sacrifice, whatever. I'm not even trying to glorify that shit, man. But there have been people before me who are getting banned off of social media. Surprisingly, I have not once been kicked off of Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, any of that shit. So it surprises me when I see people get kicked off. But yeah, there's a lot of people who are losing their livelihood over this, and will continuously lose their livelihood over this. It's the mark of the beast. Will you take it or will you not? The mask is the mark of the beast. And I was literally told to put my beliefs aside for a fucking paycheck. That's what I was told by my job. Put your beliefs aside and you can work here. It's fucked up. It's fucked up. But we just got to keep going. We just got to keep going. You know, you can't just sit around and complain about it. So that's, you know, if you guys want to support, you know, me and my family, you know, go to that Patreon. It's on my Facebook page. I'll be doing short stories and stuff too. My short stories are really good. My poems are pretty good as well. Yeah, so I'll probably end up, I'll probably, one of these streams, I'll just end up reading one of my stories so you guys can get a feel for it and see what you guys think. And I'll just say my short stories are good enough to make my wife and my mother, who have listened to them, think I'm going to report your ass. Do it. So yeah, you know, like my wife, my mother, you know, you can say they're biased, but the stories that I've written like 2 years ago, they're like, oh my God, that's happening now. So, you know, my short stories are also ahead of the curve. So are my poems. So are my talks, you know. So I'm not doing that to toot my own horn. I mean, like, I have evidence of that shit. I do. You can just go look back at my YouTube channel, and you can see I was talking about the medical benefits of shrooms will be the first one that I bring up. You know, or the globalization of America, how it's going to be the first global democracy, and how we're going to have other countries have a say in our election. That's kind of what's happening right now, right? And it's been going on forever, but it's going to become more prevalent. But yeah, so I'm not, you know, I guess it's a little bit of promotion, but I'm not trying to toot my own horn or anything. It's just, you know, I've been right about some shit, guys. So, yeah, anybody have anything else they want to talk about? That's pretty much what I had in store for today. I know it was kind of all over the place, but I'll get better as I do this. I'm not... Usually, I'll be honest with you guys, you know, when I do like those pre-recorded videos, I will usually do about 2 takes. Probably about 2 takes. Your live streams are mint. Thanks, man. Thanks. So, I see we have a new viewer here. Kind of already went through the topic, so you'll have to rewatch this a little bit later. But anybody else have anything else that they want to talk about? Thoughts on troops coming home? Yeah, so my thoughts on the troops coming home, I've kind of already talked about this on like a meta scale, and that's I think they're going to be used to enforce the smart cities, because actually I don't know, I'm kind of torn on that idea, just because I know a lot of people who served in the military and currently serve in the military, and they talk about how the military is just filled with a bunch of pussies. I mean, they have cards that they can put up, you know, saying that I'm offended, I'm triggered, if the drill sergeant is too aggressive for them or too hurting their feelings. So I don't know. I don't really know what's going to happen. Well, I think what they're trying, I think what's so I think autism is playing a big role in what's to come, especially with the troops. So we're going to have autistic troops to enforce these retarded binary rules, because they're not 3D thinkers. You know, like autistic people aren't 3D thinkers. They can't think of stuff like in the gray area. So I think it's going to be a while. I think the troops are going to have to become mostly autistic, and I think the society by and large is going to have to become mostly autistic, which is happening at an insane rate right now. I think that's part of transhumanism, this whole autistic thing that's taking place. So with the troops coming home, I think it's gearing up to restore order in big cities when riots really take place. And I have a bunch of shit that I would like to show you guys, but I'm sort of like illiterate when it comes to this live streaming thing. So I would like to eventually, as I progressively get better at this, have slides and, you know, show you guys what I'm referring to. That way, you know, I just don't look like a lunatic talking about things. but I guess it doesn't matter. But yeah, in the future, I'm gonna have videos and shit that I'll have. Yeah, dude, it is hilarious, but I think that's where we're going, and that's going to be the building block, the foundation for transhumanism. I mean, it's like Idiocracy. If you guys have ever watched that, most of the people who have an IQ of 100 or above are not having kids. It's mostly, actually, most of the people who have like an IQ of like 130 are not having kids. And most people who are having kids have IQs of like 80, 90, which is like low average. And it typically is associated with low impulse control, violence, welfare recipients, etc. But not saying IQ's everything. That is definitely not what I'm saying. Wisdom's way more vital than any kind of intelligence. But yeah, so you're gonna have autistic troops. You're gonna have this retardation of America, and that's why I say it's not gonna be painless, guys. It's not gonna be painful. It's not gonna be painful, this great reset that's taking place. It's not. It's gonna be very pleasure. It's gonna be filled with pleasure. If you read books like The Brave New World, these people are like drugged continuously with this thing called soma, and that has something to do with your brain too. Let me look this up. Soma. Give me a second here, guys. So they use this thing in Brave New World, soma. If you know the Bible, you are sharp. This is true, man. This is true. Bible. That's all. I personally think you need Bible and tradition. That's my belief. Some people think you just need the Bible. But I think you need more than that, because you need living proof of how the Bible is alive today. And with just the Bible, I think you get caught up on this, you just get caught up on history. And you become a historian. And yeah, that's good, I guess, but it's kind of dumb too. Because why are you trying to prove it doesn't make sense. Just accept that you're living the Bible right now. And in churches like the Catholic and Orthodox Church, I think they do a very good job at holding that tradition and having that sainthood. I think the sainthood is crucial. Here we go. I'm sorry, I'm still trying to look this up. But to answer your questions, thoughts on troops coming home, gearing up to restore order, implement smart cities in the future, long-term goal, the foundation, autistic troops, retardation of population. And yeah, so if you want to be a part of that, you have free will. Go ahead and do that. I just think it's pretty dumb, and you're selling your soul. So soma, or a cell body of a neuron, contains the nucleus and other structures common to living cells. These structures support the chemical processing of the neuron, the most important of which is the production of neurotransmitters. So yeah, they use soma, which is basically, it seems that it's just like sort of like the cell body that's fucking, crucial to this transportation of signal. And so they use Summa and Brave New World to keep the people happy. I pledge allegiance to the derp. Right, I pledge allegiance to the derp. That's what it's going to be. Seriously, it's that's where we're heading. That's where we are right now. I'm serious. If you are voluntarily wearing a mask out in public because you are afraid of catching a disease, you're fucking retarded. Sorry. And, I'm not sorry, actually. I'm not sorry. That was a pussy thing of me to do, guys. I shouldn't have apologized for that. So yeah, it's, what do you guys think of the troops coming home? What do you guys think of that? What are your thoughts on that? Tito, I would like to hear your take. I don't know how much you can give, but I would really like to know your take on that shit, man. Because you're sort of an insider in that way, being that you worked for the law enforcement and shit. And I think you went to school for criminal justice, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so if you guys have any thoughts on the troops coming home, The main problem, the root of all of this, by the way, the reason why there's always these resets and all this bullshit is because of your sin. It's because of my sin. That's why. It's the root problem of everything is sin. It's that simple. Sin. Seriously, greed is the leading, it's the driving factor. It's the impetus for communism is sin. Is greed, which is sin. Envy is also another one. Lust is this whole new thing of polygamy. This whole you can have multiple partners. It's okay to cheat on your spouse. It's okay to cheat on your boyfriend or girlfriend or not be committed in a relationship. It's okay. All these things are preparing you for this retarded, atomized society. And the way to avoid it is pretty simple. Buy land, grow your own food, make families big again. And make families big again. So, would you guys, in the chat here, we got 3 people, would you guys be interested if I were to make something AIDS? Okay. Okay. But, make families big again. Like, kind of steal the Trump attire with Make America Great Again, but make families big again. I think that's a move right there. That's the move. Let's see. I think the troops are going to want to have fun when they come back. I don't think people will follow 6 limit rule. Let's see. Trying to read this shit. All right, there we go. I don't think they will follow the limit of 6 people rule. Yeah, and that rule definitely changes on the state. And yes, for AIDS. All right. Yeah. So, I agree. I think a lot of the troops are going to have fun. I think. Let's see. Polygamy equals AIDS, STD, derp. Yeah, told you guys. I'm kind of retarded. Yeah, man. AIDS. Polygamy. That shit. No good. But that's what they're trying to do, and that's also why the Eastern religions are gaining a lot of popularity right now, is because you have these gurus like Osha, for instance. Oshu, or however you pronounce his name. You're not. Okay. You have Osha, right? This enlightened individual who I used to watch a lot of. I think he has a lot of good shit to say. A lot of stuff he says I totally disagree with. I think that he is a very spiritual person. I think he is quote-unquote enlightened. But I think that he is, or was, because he's dead now, definitely possessed by demons at times. But he was all about, he's created this community in India, and I think in the U.S. He was the guy on Netflix who created, the Wild Wild Country, created this, sex town. And, his idea is that, or was that, people are naturally polygamist. They're not monogamous. It is against human nature to be monogamous, which isn't true. That idea comes from the Bolumbos or whatever the fuck they're called. The idea of polygamy, guys, is founded in the evolutionary philosophy. So you can believe that if you want to, but if, evolution is not real. It is not real. And any real scientist today, any intelligent scientist today, any honest scientist today is starting to do away with the idea of Darwinism. It's an ism, guys. It's an ism. Evolution is an ism. Bullshit, then. But yeah, so, he was all about this polygamy culture, get rid of the family, have kids be raised by the communities as opposed to the parents. Now we did say some very interesting, insightful shit when it comes to kids. I will say that. Some of the stuff that he said, I sort of agree with, such as, you shouldn't be invasive on, what your kids are thinking. You shouldn't try and control what your kids do. You should let your kids be themselves. For instance, you shouldn't let your fear prevent your kids from doing something. An example he gave, only the strong survive, so we're good. That's right. That's right, man. And the weak, they're going to survive too. That's the thing. The weak are going to survive. They're just going to spiritually die. I see a lot of dead people right now, and I know I'm not trying to be funny or anything. I'm being serious. And I know it sounds a little demeaning, but you see a lot of dead people right now, man. You do. The people are spiritually dead. And the weak are dead. Yeah, you're right, man. You're right. You're right. You're right. You're right. The weak they're spiritually dead. You're right. You're absolutely right. But the beautiful thing about, Christ, nobody can not be saved. Anybody can be saved, man. That's the beautiful thing. So yes, they are spiritually dead. But that's also another reason why Christ rose from the dead, was to give you an example on how you can spiritually rise as well. Because if you recall, after he rose from the dead, people, his own disciples, Mary Magdalene, didn't even know who he was. So, I just say that because it's showing you this different kind of resurrection. It was Jesus. It is Jesus. But it's this other kind of resurrection that takes place too. So, the weak are dead, but they can rise. We all have struggles. We can't act like we're holier than thou either. I have a lot of issues myself, guys. My biggest issue is eating. I am fucking gluttonous. I'm fat. Like if I lived in Michigan, I should be working out with Tito more, dude, because you're a savage, man. You're savage. I run occasionally. I run in the evenings and stuff. I've been running a lot more lately just because my testosterone is going fucking off the charts because I'm getting hyped up off of this shit. They can rise if they stop being gay. That's right. That's right. Just, I don't know. I thought I had something funny to say, but I don't think it's funny. But, yeah, just stop being gay. Men. Just stop being gay. That's the easiest thing. And, man, we have to take back free speech. We should be able to say whatever the fuck we want to say. There's so many people who are getting banned and losing their jobs over shit like that, So, but anyway, make families big again, guys. Would you guys be interested in getting some hats and t-shirts like that? Because I think that'd be a cool idea. I think that's something we should promote. Making families big again. I really do. I think that's crucial, because America's, let me see, because we have skinny jeans. Yeah, man. Yeah, dude, too many skinny jean wearers. All right, let's see. America's birth rate. Our birth rate is extremely low right now, guys. It's like it's not sustainable. Like we'll collapse. So that's another thing. This whole the population is out of control. That's bullshit. That's an evolutionary idea as well. Yes. All right. So if we got one, there's going to be more. I think it's sweet. So I think I'm going to spend, all right. I'll make some hats to start off with because I think we'll get everything put together, guys. But yeah, I'll definitely get some hats. Make families great. Make families big again. You can check out the template I have on Facebook. But, there's this talk also about the population being out of control. And that's part of this reset, right? They want to depopulate. So this reset's going to be about depopulation as well. The Georgia Guidestones say that they want to have like 500 million people. So like a fraction of the amount of people that are alive today, allegedly alive. I question the 7 billion people number. I don't know if that's accurate or not. Because liars are telling me that number. But the birth rate in America is 1.7. It's not sustainable. It should be like at 2 to be sustainable. We're almost there. So make families big again to save America, guys. To save America. Have kids. And having kids is fun. Making kids is fun too. I mean, that's the best part about it, right? Although, going back on polygamy, I do think that there are some times where it is logos driven. Polygamy, like if you're rebuilding a society, if you're rebuilding like a country, or you're going way back in time, and you need to have a lot of kids, then a dude with 5 wives, I think that's cool. I don't think that's a sin. It's biblical. It's Old Testament. I think the New Testament changed it a little bit. But yeah, if it helps rebuild the population, I think. But it's not a good idea. It's not something that should be popularized. And if you're going to be a polygamist, and have multiple wives, you have a lot of responsibility, man. A lot of responsibility. You're in charge of multiple women. One, it's a handful. Not really. I'm just joking. It's really not. It's really not. I think that's also a bitch move a lot of guys are doing today. Talking about how women are handfuls. It's like, no. You just need to let your nuts hang, big guy. And they're not. They're not. Women are pretty simple. They really are. Yes, they're complicated in some ways, but they're simple because they just want protection. That's all. I think polygamy is a sin. Okay. That's fine. I think that it's not something the New Testament talks about or preaches about, but the Old Testament for sure, full of polygamists. David, Solomon, Abraham. A lot of biblical figures were polygamist. I don't endorse it. I don't think you should do it today. I don't think that you need to do it today. I don't see the reason. I can see a reason for it potentially, but it comes with a lot of responsibility. You have a lot of mouths to feed as the man. You're the in a Christian philosophy, you are, or theology, or belief, whatever you want to call it. A man is the king, prophet, and priest of his home. So, if you're the king, prophet, and priest over a bunch of women, that's a lot of responsibility, man. But yeah, it can't. I don't know. It's tricky. I think polygamy's tricky. I'm against it, but I don't think it's necessarily a sin. That's just my take. But yeah. So, anything else? Anything else you guys want to talk about? Anything else? Let's see. I actually, you know what, guys? If you're interested, just let me know. I may have, I can give you a little taste of a short story if you guys are interested. Or even a poem. I got poems. That's something I can do as well. But let's see here, because I got a bunch of stuff saved on my computer. And I think moving forward, I'm going to get a webcam and start doing the streams from my computer, because I will have access to drag and drop shit on the screen, whereas for my phone I don't. But yeah, let me know, you guys. I have this, I don't know, it's like let me see how long it is. It could be kind of long. But if you guys want to hear one of the short stories I have, let me know. I will. I'll read it out loud. I think it's pretty good. It's one of the more recent ones I've written. Let's see. How many pages is this? Let's see. Oh yeah, it's a really short one. Yeah, it's a really short one. It's only 2 pages. It's called No Return. Basically, kind of talking about what I've been discussing with the smart cities. So, unless you guys want to keep rifting, we can do that. We can keep talking about some other shit, but I've kind of already covered the topic I really wanted to talk about today, the Great Reset, and how there's nothing new under the sun. But you know what? I'll just give you guys a story. How about that? I'm going to make an executive decision here, guys. I'm in the cockpit. I'm the pilot. I'm going to give you a taste of my writing, all right? And you guys tell me if it's shit. Tell me if it's good. This is your free story for the month, by the way. So, yeah, it's called No Return. So, here we go. They're watching every post, search and word. Technological black holes capturing all surrounding information. Ashley Morrison became enraged. Ashley Morrison became enraged, so much so that her slightly tan complexion began to beam red. The aperture of her green eye shrunk to a pin. Her thumbs jabbed each letter on that screen with righteous indignation. She could no longer remain silent on the post supporting industrial decentralization. Her family depended on those job sites, and to dismantle them would be to leave in complete... Guys, I'm sorry. I need to fucking read this story again. We're not doing this one. This one I don't think is ready. Shit. Let's see. Her life depended on those... and to dismantle them would be to leave them... Alright, guys. See, this is what I'm just doing this shit, dude. I'm not very good at this live stuff, but just got to do it, you know. This is what being a man's about. You just fucking do it. So yeah, we'll start over. Sorry, guys. I had to fix something in there. It was messing me up. Because, you know, I'm rereading this again. My wife is usually my proofreader. I like this one. It's older, about the guy and the cell phones. It really got me. I think you know which one I'm talking about. Yep. It is that one. So, all right, we'll just start it again. So, they're watching every post, search, and word. Technological black holes capturing all surrounding information. Ashley Morrison became enraged, so much so that her slightly tan complexion began to beam red. The aperture of her green eyes shrunk to a pin. Her thumbs jabbed each letter on that touchscreen with righteous indignation. She could no longer remain silent on the post supporting industrial decentralization. Her family depended on those job sites, and to dismantle them would be to leave them in complete destitution. But the future must break the chains of memorial. Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all well rested, because from today onward, this department will be working tirelessly until Omniscient is finished and ready for implementation, said head of tech at Masterbook, Brad Thompson, dressed in a collared t-shirt and jeans, wielding a laser pointer. He turned from the crowd to the screen. His audience consisted of a subsection from the tech department at large. This group of 50 sat in a lecture hall-like setting. Now the screen in front displayed 3 separate lines reading binary acceptance, non-binary storage, and storage ranking cleaning. Brad clicked the remote, and those 3 lines came together, forming a triangle with Omniscient in the center. Here we have our home. To optimize the talent in this room, we are going to break off into 3 groups. Each group will focus on one block. One line, sorry. This is how those groups will be numbered. Storage ranking cleaning 5, binary acceptance 30, and non-binary storage 15. With the 15. With the pause arose a low chatter. Filling the void, Brad turned to the crowd and removed his glasses. No need to guess about who will be where. The powers to be have done that based on security clearance. As you know, this project is non-existent to the outside. A hand appeared like a shark fin out of a sea of people. Brad nodded. Yes. What exactly do these sections consist of? And if we're working separately, who will do the integration? Brad grinned. Thank you. Those are good questions. Those in each group will receive information pertaining only to their group. No exchanging may take place. Their suspicion began to rise. But Brad was able to dismiss it with his story of the moon landing. When NASA was working on going to the moon, they too had separate groups that allowed to exchange. I'm sorry, guys, I'm fucking this up a little bit. They too had separate groups that weren't allowed to exchange information. One propels man to the stars, and the other propels man to God. Roughly 2 months later, along with several disclosure agreements signed, Omniscience was rolled out. Timing was impeccable, being that election season was right around the corner. And I wrote this way before election time, guys. Tension between pro-futurist and anti-futurist grew and started to pervade every part of the country. Omniscient was the dam using the forces to make energy and protect those vampires harvesting that energy. Ashley had mindlessly accepted the new terms and conditions that popped up when she logged into Masterbook. Scrolling through her feed, she saw meme wars everywhere, directed in only two directions, pro and anti-futurist. After much reflection, she knew this was a false binary and decided to show others this by sharing videos and documents describing the vampiric system. Unbeknownst to her, she had given her consent for Omniscient to track every person who sees that post and apply its 3-stick system to store each reaction. Through facial recognition, it was able to detect body heat and collect data, i.e. pore dilation and pore expansion. All emotional data was collected this way and stored as follows: binary, non-binary, and storage. All binary posts were rewarded with master validation points, allowing said user free access to certain entertainment venues. Non-binary posts were filtered through to storage or simply neutralized, receiving no points. Those in storage were ranked based on disruption levels. This was determined based on the subtle data collected. Level 1 equals slight irritation, and level 5 equals massive distress to the point of losing faith. A post ranked within 3 and up are put into the cleaning pile. That leads to the deletion of the accounts and the user who posted. Jail time. Will receive jail time. And let's see. And post ranked within level 3 and up are put into a cleaning pile that leads to the deletion of the accounts and the user who posted. Jail time below level 3 users were heavily scrutinized. Ashley's post triggered emotional reaction, reaching level 5. Her timeline was shortly filled with spiteful comments. Conspiracy nut. One read, "You're actually insane. The government thinking the government doesn't care. That's literally their fucking job, dumbass. You free dumb junkie." Laying in her bed, Ashley couldn't believe her eyes. So rather than further engage, she grabbed her headphones and decided to go for a jog. Morning dew hovered above freshly trimmed grass on every lawn in the neighborhood. She loved that new smell. Dressed in her running attire, she set her watch to track her run and took off. For once, her mind had stopped racing and she was just being. She thought that she had to do this more often. With each stride, she grew closer to that dirt path she loved to walk. It split the forest floor into a path. Her wrist gradually began to vibrate, slowly increasing with each step until it became unbearable to the point where she had to move. At that moment, she read the screen, reading "Stop." Perplexed by this message, she attempted to turn it off, but to no avail. "What the heck?" she said. Suddenly, in the middle of this battle between woman and machine, a buzzing noise interrupted. Ashley looked up to see a drone flying towards her, probably a photographer trying to get some pictures, she thought. "Ashley Morrison, you are to remain standing until local authorities arrive," spoke the drone in the famous monotone robotic voice. Squinting her eyebrows, "And why?" she asked. "Am I really talking to a drone right now?" she asked herself. "You are in violation of Masterbook's terms and conditions that are now enforceable by local and federal authorities. Now please remain still. The local authorities should be here in roughly 60 seconds. As if bitten by a poisonous snake, paralysis slowly kicked in, causing her body and mind to go blank. There she stood in front of a... causing her body to go blank. There she stood. I'm sorry, guys. I think this one is not the correct one. I fucked up quite a bit in this one. And I see that this one did not really finish well at the end. It kind of just jumps into the court case. But I guess I'll finish it off. I'm sorry. The stories will be much better than this and reviewed. There she stood in front of a judge wielding his gavel. He hit the gavel twice, and it reverberated throughout a nearly empty courtroom, lowering his head to allow his eyes to peer over the edge of his glasses, occasionally looking up to see a young woman dressed in black and dark blue business top and dress. So, Mrs. Morrison, you're being charged with a disruption, with disturbing the peace and mental endangerment. What have you to say? Ashley cleared her throat. Your Honor, I'm guilty. He looked flabbergasted by her candor. To speak out against the system based on insanity will only bring those in it pain, but that pain can show some a light that can guide them out of that cave. Any system willing to destroy humanity deserves to be disturbed. She never took her eyes off of him as she spoke. The judge took a moment to speak. Okay, Mrs. Morrison. It's very clear you're mentally unfit and a danger to yourself and others. Therefore, you'll be sentenced to Grensham Hospital until your condition is resolved. His gravel pounded the wooded platform twice, leaving her dumb and mute. And that's the story. It's no return. I do apologize. I just decided to do this story last minute. It was not a part of the plan. So it is not edited that great and that well. But the stories will be much more... They'll be better. And better edited. And I won't be fucking up as much during the... What's the word for it? I can't think of the word for it. The dictation. There you go. But yeah, that's a sample of the short story. I would show you a poem or two, but I do not have any poems here. They're all on my phone. Yeah, it's good. Thanks, man. It'll be better. They'll be better. They'll be much better. But yeah, so I'm also working on a book too, guys. I'm currently working on the second draft. It's called Zeitgeist Jesus. You guys are the first people I have told online. I know I've shared that I'm writing a book, but I haven't given the title. Zeitgeist Jesus is the title, and it's essentially Christ versus transhumanism is the topic. So a lot of what I've been talking about will be discussed in great detail in the book. Like I said, working on the second draft. Now that I don't need to go in anywhere from 9 to 5 for a while, I mean, we'll see. If things get to the point where I need to start looking for, online jobs or something like that, I will. But I'm really going to try to make I'm really going to try to make it happen with this Patreon thing. So we'll see. But yeah, so working on a book, second draft currently. And people who support the Patreon will get early access to that book. They'll be the first ones to get the audio version and the written version. But yeah, man. So that's about what I have. It's about what I have for the day. Unless I have something else in here, like a poem in one of these notebooks. I don't think I do. I think all the poems I have are on my phone or in a notebook upstairs. Should have Jesus smacking Kanye West on the cover. That would be awesome. That's a good idea. That's a good idea, actually. Like the image of where Jesus is chasing the money chasers out of the money changers out of the temple. We should have like Jesus whipping Kanye West. Although I did hear this other title. This one person I've been texting. I was telling him about the book a little bit, and he suggested a title, and I think it might be better, guys. I think it might be my subtitle. It's because I told him the idea behind the book, right? Zeitgeist Jesus, transhumanism versus Christ, and how, there's false Christianity coming in, the Antichrist rising, Kanye West, etc. And he was like, you should, I would have named the book, Jesus Isn't a Gay Bitch. That made me crack up. I was like, that is a much better title than That'd Be Funny. Right? What's up, Tristan? What's up, man? I hope you're doing well. Go back and watch this after the video's done. Because I've already kind of covered the topic that I'll be covering. But right now we're talking about the book that I'm currently working on writing, and the short stories and Patreon, etc. that I have up going. But yeah, this person I was texting said the book title should be, he would name it, Jesus Isn't a Gay Bitch. And so I'm thinking of having the title as Zeitgeist Jesus, but then the subtitle, or like the in the introductory paragraph, having Jesus Isn't a Gay Bitch, like in quotation marks. Let me know what you guys think of that. But yeah, Tristan, man, got a Patreon account, brother. If you want to help support, check it out on my Facebook page. You get short stories, poems, early access to shit, and yeah, you'll get to hear me talk about interesting topics like the gay reset and nothing new under the sun. So yeah, and I do have to steal this quote from somebody that I listened to. I may be wrong, but I am not lying. This is a stream where I'm going to be just honest. I could be wrong on things, and I'll admit when I'm wrong on things, as I have before in the last stream. I have no issue with that. I think that's all part of, that's a part about being, it's a part of growth. And just being honest is just admitting when you're wrong. So, yeah, but anybody else have anything they want to talk about? Because if not, I'm about to bounce. So yeah, guys, there is no need to fear the New World Order. And by the way, the New World Order, it's not a New World Order. It's always been in place. Like I said, there's nothing new under the sun. So this idea of the New World Order, it's brand new and coming to get you, you've been a part of it for years. I've been a part of it for years. But we're just now waking up to it. So, don't get caught up on that idea too much either, that it's this New World Order and we've all been a part of it. We in it, son. Yes, we are in it. We're in it right now, but we're always in it. There's no escaping it. Like the other day, I was thinking to my wife, and I shared this with my wife, that it's almost like we're living in the times of Noah. It's like I feel almost like Noah. Like, it's so crazy. Like, I was thinking about this on the 13th, I think, of this month, just because of all the bullshit going on, and we see this massive collapse about to take place, and so many people aren't prepared. And that's the part that gets everybody going, right? Like you have these Alex Jones. I don't like it. I used to listen to Alex Jones. I'll listen to him once in a while, but I think he's a fat slob. He's into transgender. He's into transgender people, dude. He's into chicks with dicks. I'm serious. It's kind of nasty. It is really nasty. But like Alex Jones, I like the reset. I think the reset will come. Or 3. I honestly think, okay, so I'll share with you guys something else that I think. I think that Iran is the United States' greatest ally. I do. Because I think, okay, so you have to invert the inverted, right? So like we live in an upside down world. So if you turn, if you just flip that around, you're inverting the inverted, and so you're putting it back where it should be. So with that in mind, think of Israel, right? So we have so many fake Christians, these Judeo-Christian lovers who think Israel's the shit, right? I'm not saying Israel isn't a holy land or anything like that, but they think it's the shit. They think that the temple needs to be rebuilt over there and all will be well. Then Jesus is coming back, right? But They are actually a part of the synagogue of Satan because the Rothschilds implemented them. Israel's the reason why we're overseas, man. Israel has more control over the United States than the United States has control over itself. And it's because of these fake Christians they're Zionist. It's Zionism. It's what it is. It's because these fucking fake Christians are like, yeah, the Jews are the chosen people. Yeah, right now they're the chosen people to usher in the Antichrist. It is what it is. I mean, the Antichrist is always here. He's always here. I think it's 1 John. It talks about the Antichrist is anyone who is against Christ. And Christ himself says it in the gospel. If you're not for me, you're against me, essentially. So the Antichrist is always here. But the Jews are the chosen people now in the sense that they're leading people to the Antichrist, I think. Now, obviously, there are some good Jews. I don't want to be that, not all Jews are bad. That's a horrible thought. That's a horrible thought. That's wrong, and that's that autistic thinking, right? That's not what I'm saying. But, by and large, a lot of corrupt Jews. They own a lot of the media. A lot of the media. Who runs the corporation where I'm doing this live? A Jew. Zuckerberg. Yeah. A Jew boy. A grabbler, as we bears call them. Grabblers. But yeah, so Israel wants us to go to war with Iran because Iran is a threat to Israel. Iran, I don't think, is a threat to the United States. It's only a threat to the United States in so much as it's a threat to Israel. And anything being a threat to Israel isn't really a threat to the America. So, Iran is actually beneficial for America. I think Iran will do much. Iran used to be a democracy. I think it was the first democracy. And it was its own, it was a nationalistic country, man. It was all for its people. They did not want the fucking Europeans coming over here and stealing their oil. Williams was talking about weed and it's saving his life today. All right. I did not know that. Okay. I wonder how it saved his life. All right, that's interesting. Maybe it was, maybe, I don't know. I don't fucking know. But anyway, I think Iran is very based. They don't allow you to say fuck over there. They say no to pornos. You can't go on a porn site. You try to go on a porn site, you get that slanted face, error, little message on your computer. They're like, no porn for you. No porn for you. And you can't say fuck. And don't talk about Allah. That's based, man. That's based. And no homos. I don't have an issue with gay people. I'm just against it. I just don't think it's natural. But, Iran is based, dude. Iran is a better ally to America than Israel is. They really are. And it's no longer Judeo-Christian. It's Islamo-Christian. Montel Williams was talking about weed and it's saving his life. Yeah, here's. Yeah, dude, she listens to Tupac. She's real. You know what's so crazy about Kamala Harris? This is, like a normie thing. This is, like a mainstream thing that people talk about. But it's just baffling to me how dumb people are. And I hate to say that, because maybe I shouldn't say that. I don't think it has anything to do with intelligence. I think it has everything to do with aperture. James True is the guy I got that from. Pretty good. But aperture, basically like a camera, how you can expand the lens. And so aperture is where, like, depending on the aperture of your camera, the more light you can bring in, right? So I don't think a lot of people are dumb. I think they're blinded. Those who have eyes to see. You know, the Bible talks about until you find Jesus, essentially, until you find God, you have this veil over your face of reality. And then once you find Jesus, once you find God, this veil is slowly removed and you're seeing the light. Now, obviously, that you're not seeing everything. We all have blind spots, but we can find those blind spots. But anyway, so I take back what I'm saying. But back to Kamala Harris, so many people think that she's fucking black. She's Indian. Her family owns slaves in India currently, I think. Yeah. And she's married to a Jew, guys. She's married to a Jew. That's insane. Not really, it's not insane. Who am I kidding? It's normal. It's normal. But that's okay. Because, you know, a lot of these people in power, they're weak. They're weak. They're disgusting and weak. And they only have fake power. The power they have over us is a dollar that has no inherent value. It has no innate value. None whatsoever. That's all they have over us. So, yeah, they're weak, man. They're weak, and there's nothing to fear with them. You just gotta follow the path. Stay true. You know, there's this picture and this quote in the picture where it says, you know, the closer you get to the cross, the smaller the crowd gets. That's so true, man. That's so true. Yeah. But unless you guys have anything else to share, or unless anything else pops in my mind randomly, I want to be out of here. I'm getting a little tired, you know, getting a little sleepy. I've been up not too long today, actually. You know, I helped out a lot with the girls today, so that's awesome. So that's a blessing right there. I get to spend more time with my daughters and my wife. It's a blessing. Yeah, man, being a dad is super cool. Being a dad is super cool. Make families big again. Make families big again. Fort Knox is real. Yeah, dude. Fort Knox is real. It's not fake news, right? Get a bunch of gold and make your own Fort Knox. Get silver and Bitcoin and make your own Fort Knox. Yeah, dude. But, yeah, that's that, man. That's that. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll decide what topic we'll talk about tomorrow. But, yeah, hopefully I can continuously get better at this, make it more coherent. And, yeah. But, welcome to the Dad Club. That's right, man. Congratulations. I think I've congratulated you already. But I hope your kid is doing well. Son, I believe. I do apologize. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. But that's awesome, man. That's awesome. Have plenty of kids. Have lots of kids. Be fruitful and multiply. That was our first commandment. That was the first commandment from God. Be fruitful and multiply. Don't let fear stop you from having kids, man. But, yeah, man. That's awesome, Tristan. That's awesome, man. Thank you, and congratulations to you. I hope your little one's doing well. But, all right, guys. I think I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna call it a night and just relax with the fam. Spend some time with my wife while the girls are asleep. Maybe they're still asleep. I don't know. I guess I'll find out. I'll find out when I go upstairs. But, all right. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Don't forget the Patreon. Tiers are all listed out. There's even an introduction video, guys. Yeah, so go check that out. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And like I said, I'll let you guys know what I'll be talking about either tonight or tomorrow at some time. So, Tristan, be there. You're a new listener, man. All right. All right. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Much love.